video in the whole wide world is sponsored by Audible these days, so I decided to try it out for myself and see if it really was worth it. I like audiobooks. I prefer paperback. I prefer to actually read myself, but I do like audiobooks. When I was traveling a fair distance every day to work, back and forth every day, I started really liking audiobooks, and I got some in CD form. Then when I stopped traveling, I stopped listening to audiobooks. I really started remembering how much I love to actually read a physical book, and so I sort of put it to the back of my mind, but then remembered that pretty much everybody talks about Audible. Everybody, it's just so many people, and they sponsor almost every single video alive on YouTube, I swear. They're not sponsoring me, just so you know. I wanted to try them for myself to see if it was even worth paying the monthly money, and pretty much any subscription service alive these days has a free trial. So I went with it and I gave it a go because I wanted to see if I would actually get my money's worth for how much I would use it. My monthly trial came and went. I stopped before I got payments because, to be honest with you, I didn't use it. I picked it up again recently because I wanted to try and make my way through an entire book, at least one, because you get to keep whatever it is that you download in your trial. So that's nice. That's really nice of them. Unfortunately though, when it comes to actually downloading things, you're paying a subscription, you get like one free book a month, which is not a lot. And everything else, even though you're already paying a subscription, you still have to pay for the Audible book. So you're paying whatever it is a month, 10, 12, 15, whatever it is a month. Plus, you have to buy each book that you want, or buy credits to get each book if you wanted more than one a month. For me, this is a money trap. There are a lot of subscriptions like this. There are a lot of subscriptions that are like, come with us and you'll get free access to, you know, books or music or whatever. But then you actually sign up and it's like, oh, you get one free one every so often, and then you have to buy the rest. For me, what the heck is the point paying a subscription if I still have to pay extra for every other thing? Why would I do that? Why would I bother spending money on a subscription if I still have to pay for the content? So it was annoying. That's why I cancelled my subscription, because I think I ended up getting maybe 4 books that whole month, because every month there are a couple that you can get for free, and they change up, and some of them might be a little interesting, but they're definitely not the books that you choose or that you want or that are really popular or that are really, you know, amazing, spectacular. They're really obscure, they're really unusual, you've never heard of them before, and to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not going to spend 12 hours of my life listening to a book that I didn't really want. But I will say, so I did come back after I had let my subscription go because of those silly reasons that it just doesn't make any sense at all. Pay for a subscription and then have to pay for per book on top of. But anyway, so I came back to it several months later after my subscription was over. I still have access to the 4 or so books that I randomly downloaded. And the one book that I really wanted to download, that I wanted to listen to, that I used one of my only free credit for, was actually 1984 by George Orwell. I've heard so often that this is a classic, blah blah blah. Most of the science fiction stuff that we've created since it came out has been influenced in one way or another by this book. So I wanted to read it, and I figured that it would be good to do in an Audible way. This is a long book. This is like 12 hours. The guy who recorded it, he's so good. I liked it. He was good. He's good. The story itself is fun. It's interesting. It is tiny finally, if you ask me, in 2021, when there is a lot of government oversight happening at the moment with COVID and things like that, I find that though, I don't have enough time to sit and listen to 12 hours of audio. When I'm going on a walk, I have been taking the audiobook with me and listening, and that's been really good. I don't have a 2-hour there and back journey anymore to work, so for me, finding the time to actually listen to an audiobook is difficult. It's not a huge priority, and so I don't get a lot out of Audible personally for that reason. I think that if you have lots of spare time or lots of travel time or time where you can actually dedicate to listening to a book, then it would be good. Like, I loved listening to the audiobooks that I had in CD when I was going to work because I had so much drive time, and that was really great. But when I don't have a lot of time spare, or I don't have time where I'm like, I'm just gonna sit and stare at the ceiling and listen to a book as opposed to reading one, for me, it didn't really work. So it's a little bit hard for me in that regard for audiobooks in general. I don't really have time or a place for them in my life. It just doesn't work to fit that into my life. If I was to have to sit on the couch and listen to a book instead of physically reading it, I would fall asleep. It doesn't matter what's happening, that I would fall asleep, I would get bored, I would get fidgety. When you're reading a book, you are turning pages, or at very least if you're ebooks, you know, you're flipping pages. You have something to focus on, to zero in your attention on, which is the words on the page. And audiobook, you don't have that same focus point. When it comes to the content itself in Audible, I found that they have a relatively good option range. Some of the books that I really like, which are Christian books, you can't get at a normal bookstore, they had in Audible, so that was really great. There's lots of different options. They have more options. But like I said, you have to pay for those books on top of paying every month. If you look at it in a different perspective, if you like reading and you buy books often, like me, you're gonna buy way more than one a month. I just can't warrant having access with one book every month for $15 and then paying on top of that for any additional books you want. So is Audible worth all of the hype? Or all of the ads? I think that if it fits your lifestyle, go for it. I think that it can be good if you have a lot of spare time to listen to books instead of read them. I'm not that person, so for me, that doesn't work. But if you prefer that, or if you have a lot of drive time like I used to have, then it would be good because you could have some of those audiobooks can be stored on your phone or somewhere really easy instead of having multiple CDs, which is what I have. I personally don't mind that, but if you wanted to have them all in a really easy place, any and all of the audiobooks that you own, then that is really good. So that's a plus. But also, if you're expecting to be able to have access to any and all audiobooks for your subscription, that's wrong. It's not. There are those free options every month, but most of the time they're not that exciting. Is Audible worth the hype for me? No. Would it be worth the hype for you? Maybe, depending on what you're looking for and your lifestyle and what it is that you're expecting. Expectations are important because the expectation for me was access to as many books as you wanted for free because that's what you're paying for. But really, no. Expectation was new. It is you are paying to have access to the platform where you can buy audiobooks. Silly. That's what Audible is like. That is what Kindle is like. That's what all of it is like. My gosh, Amazon, get your stuff together over here. Go ahead, try Audible if you think that you would better connect with an audiobook every month than a physical book. And if you had time for it, then go for it. Go for it. Like I said, the range is impressive. What they carry is impressive compared to other places. So, you know, use your best judgment. It's up to you. Do you agree with me? Are you an absolute Audible fan for life forever and think that I totally missed the mark? Or do you agree? Did you try Audible and it just did not work for you? Or you're on the fence and you've never tried it and you're wondering a little bit more about it? Put any of that stuff in the comments because I'd love to hear about it and talk about Audible. They are everywhere. So, you know, let's bring some accountability in what they provide. I think more than one book a month, more than 2 books a month would be better, personally, if you're paying your money for it. Don't hate me, Audible. I don't hate you. It just doesn't work for me. Anyway, thank you so much, you guys, for watching this video. I appreciate it. Your support, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the adventures.